Keanu Reeves exposes luxury car scam. What follows will shock you. Justice Stories. "They're lying to everyone!" the shout echoed in Keanu Reeves' mind as he stepped into Coastal Sands Elite Autos, the California sun blazing through glass walls that hid a multi-million-dollar scam. In Sandy Crest, where wealth sparkled like the ocean's edge, this dealership promised dreams, sleek Aston Martins and Ferraris gleaming under crystal chandeliers. But Keanu's dark eyes caught what others missed. A camera tilted wrong, a gate left ajar. He wasn't here to buy a car. He was here to tear down an empire of deceit, and the truth was about to burn brighter than the chrome. The showroom smelled of leather and ambition, a curated scent that screamed money. A black Aston Martin DB11 sat center stage, its curves catching light like a panther poised to strike. Above, a chandelier dripped crystal, crowning the dealership's arrogance. Employees polished a red Ferrari under an awning, their laughter bouncing off marble floors. Keanu's boots moved silently, his leather jacket a stark contrast to the tailored suits buzzing around him. He noted a hallway marked private near a water fountain, its doors slightly open. Something wasn't right. Keanu's gaze swept the room, mapping reflections on windshields. A security camera hung at an odd angle, blind to half the lot. Instinct hummed. He'd learned to trust it years ago. He wasn't paranoid. He was prepared. Outside, the ocean breeze carried salt and secrets. But inside, the air felt staged, like a set waiting for its star. He paused by a Porsche, fingers brushing its hood. The paint shimmered, but a tiny scratch near the headlight whispered imperfection. Most would miss it. Keanu didn't. Elliot Vance emerged from his office, navy suit sharp as a blade, hair sculpted like a billboard model's. His grin was a weapon, honed to close deals. "Mr. Reeves, what an honor," he said, striding forward, hand extended. "Big fan of your work. Bet you're eyeing that Aston Martin, right?" Keanu offered a faint nod, shaking the hand briefly. His eyes didn't leave Elliot's, catching a flicker of calculation behind the charm. Elliot didn't notice Keanu's silence wasn't awe. It was scrutiny. "Caught my eye," Keanu said softly, pacing around the Aston Martin. His fingers trailed its carbon fiber spoiler, pausing at a seam that felt too smooth, almost artificial. Elliot pounced, voice smooth as silk. "One of a kind, came from a tech mogul in Santa Barbara. Barely driven, a collector's dream." Keanu crouched, peering at the tires. Goodyear, not Bridgestone. The brand Aston Martin swore by. His brow twitched, but his face stayed calm. "Interesting choice," he murmured. Elliot's grin tightened. "Custom order," Elliot said quickly, adjusting his cufflinks. The guy wanted grip over flash. You know how collectors are. Keanu stood, brushing off his hands. "Do I?" His tone was even, but his eyes locked onto Elliot's, searching for cracks. The dealer laughed, too loud, waving toward his glass office. "Let me pull the records. Full history, clean as the car." Keanu tilted his head. "I'd like that." The air shifted, a silent challenge hanging between them. Keanu stepped back, circling the car again. The showroom's jazz playlist looped softly, but it couldn't drown out his thoughts. He spotted a gate beyond the Ferrari, its lock undone, swaying in the breeze. A glance at the private hallway showed a shadow moving inside. Someone watching? He filed it away. Elliot kept talking, gesturing like a showman. "Picture it. You, this beast, tearing up Highway 1. Not just a car, it's a legacy." Keanu's lips curved, not quite a smile. "Legacy, huh?" The front door chimed, and a couple in designer sunglasses strolled in, distracted by a Lamborghini's gleam. Elliot's eyes darted toward them, sensing easier prey. "Take your time, Mr. Reeves," he said, already turning. "I'll grab those papers." Keanu nodded, his gaze drifting to the hallway again. The shadow was gone, but a faint hum machinery leaped from behind the door. His pulse stayed steady, but his mind raced. This wasn't just a dealership, it was a stage, and he was about to pull back the curtain. He moved toward the Aston Martin's driver's side mirror, leaning close. The stitching on the leather seats looked tight but uneven, a hair off factory perfection. He tapped the odometer. 2,000. 104 miles, too precise for a collector's car. "Santa Barbara, you said?" he called out, voice casual. Elliot froze mid-step, turning back. Yeah, big tech guy, private type. Keanu's eyes narrowed. Name? Elliot's smile flickered. I'd need to check. You know, privacy. Keanu didn't reply, letting silence press harder than words. Keanu straightened, hands in his pockets. The chandelier's light danced across the floor, but it couldn't hide the truth forming in his mind. This car wasn't rare. It was wrong. The tires, the seats, the miles. They didn't add up. He glanced at the gate again, then the hallway. Elliot was back at his desk, typing furiously, probably stalling. Keanu's jaw tightened. He wasn't here to play games. He was here to find answers, and every step brought him closer to a truth Elliot didn't want exposed. As Elliot disappeared into his office, Keanu lingered by the car, his reflection sharp in the chrome. The showroom glittered, a perfect lie sold to the greedy or the hopeful. But Keanu wasn't either. He saw the scratches, the shadows, the seams that didn't fit. Coastal Sands Elite Autos wasn't selling dreams, it was selling betrayal. And Keanu Reeves, with his quiet steps and sharper eyes, was about to prove it. The game had just begun, and the stakes were higher than anyone knew. Keanu Reeves stood alone in the showroom of Coastal Sands Elite Autos, the Aston Martin's chrome reflecting his steady gaze. Elliot Vance had vanished into his office, likely scrambling to cover his tracks. The jazz playlist droned on, but Keanu's ears caught a faint hum from the private hallway, a clue begging to be chased. He glanced at the open gate beyond the Ferrari, then back at the hallway's shadowed door. The truth was close, hiding just out of sight. He took a breath and moved toward the hallway, silent as a ghost. Will Keanu get caught sneaking in? The marble floor gave way to scuffed concrete as he crossed the private sign. The air grew cooler, heavy with oil and rubber, not the showroom's polished perfume. A flickering bulb buzzed overhead, casting jagged shadows. Keanu's boots barely whispered, his eyes scanning for cameras. None here. Sloppy, he thought. At the corridor's end, a metal door stood ajar, leaping that low hum. He paused, listening. Machinery? Engines? Something alive waited beyond? His heart stayed calm, but his senses sharpened. Keanu nudged the door open, hinges creaking softly. The room beyond was massive, a cavern of flickering fluorescent lights snapping on in rows, cars lined up like soldiers, Lamborghinis, Porsches, another Aston Martin, all gleaming under the harsh glow. At first it was breathtaking, a fortune on wheels, but Keanu's gut twisted. This wasn't a collector's vault, it was too perfect, too staged. He stepped closer, eyes narrowing at a Ferrari's headrest. The stitching was off, sloppy for a factory job. Are these cars even real? He moved down the line, fingers brushing a Lamborghini's hood. The paint shimmered, but a faint scene showed under the light. Repainted, not original. A Porsche's steering wheel caught his eye, its logo tilted a fraction, a fake dressed up to fool the desperate. Keanu's chest tightened, not with fear, but with anger. People had trusted this place, poured their savings into these lies. Families, dreamers, all betrayed by a smile and a shiny key. He wasn't just finding fraud. He was touching their pain. Keanu popped the hood of a McLaren at the row's end. The engine gleamed, but it was wrong. Aftermarket bolts, wires patched together, labels scratched off. His jaw clenched. This wasn't a car. It was a scam, built to break hearts and bank accounts. He imagined a single mom driving one, thinking she'd made it, only to stall on a dark road, kids in the back. The thought hit hard, raw, like a wound. These weren't just machines. They were stolen hopes. Voices snapped him alert. Keanu ducked behind a stack of tires, his shadow melting into the dark. Two men entered through a back door. Elliot, sweating through his suit, and a stocky guy with a scar across his cheek, Rico Salazar. "You're late," Rico growled, leaning against a fake Ferrari. "I need that cash now." Elliot's voice shook. "I'm close, Rico. Got a big fish today. Just need one sale." Keanu's eyes narrowed. "A big fish? Him?" Rico lit a cigarette, smoke curling like his anger. "You said that last month." "My boss doesn't wait." Elliot paced, hands twitching. "It's Keanu Reeves, man. Loaded, quiet. He's halfway sold on the Aston Martin. I'll close it tomorrow, pay you, and order more cars." Rico's laugh was cold. Your last batch broke down in a week. Sloppy work draws cops. Keanu's fists clenched, hidden in the dark. This wasn't one scam. It was a network, and he was inches from its heart. Elliot wiped his brow. I've got it handled. He's asking questions, but I'll stall. Always do. Rico stepped closer, voice low. You better. Fail again, and you're out, permanently. He flicked his cigarette onto the floor, crushing it under his boot. Keanu held his breath, memorizing every word. These cars weren't just fakes, they were bait. Sold to trap people in debt, danger, and despair. He saw faces in his mind, workers, parents, all cheated. The back door slammed as Rico left. Elliot cursed under his breath, kicking a tire. Keanu waited, still as stone, until Elliot's footsteps faded toward the showroom. He rose, slipping back through the metal door, his mind racing. The corridor felt tighter now, the truth heavier with every step. He passed the flickering bulb, its buzz louder, like a warning. Back in the hallway, he checked his phone. No signal, but he didn't need one yet. He had enough to act. The showroom greeted him with its fake warmth, jazz looping like nothing had changed. The Aston Martin sat under its spotlight, a beautiful lie. Keanu's heart carried the weight of what he'd seen. Rows of forged cars, a deal with Rico, lives torn apart by greed. He thought of his own path, the times he'd walked away from lies. Not today. Someone had to fight for the people Elliot had hurt, and Keanu was already in too deep to turn back. He lingered by the Ferrari, pretending to admire it. An employee glanced over, but Keanu's calm nod sent her back to polishing. His eyes flicked to Elliot's office, where the dealer typed frantically, unaware of the storm coming. Keanu's fingers brushed his jacket pocket, where he'd tucked a photo of the McLaren's fake engine, snapped in the dark. It wasn't proof enough. Yet. He needed more, something undeniable, to break this scam wide open. Keanu stepped toward the glass walls, the ocean sparkling outside. Sandy Crest looked peaceful, but beneath its shine, people were hurting. He saw it now, the single mom who'd never recover her savings, the retiree stuck with a lemon, the kid who trusted a slick salesman. Their stories fueled him, each one a reason to keep going. Elliot thought he'd hooked a celebrity, but Keanu wasn't playing. He was rewriting the ending, and Coastal Sands Elite Autos was about to face the truth. Keanu Reeves stepped back into the showroom of Coastal Sands Elite Autos, the jazz playlist a hollow hum against the truth burning in his chest. The Aston Martin gleamed under its spotlight, a lie dressed in chrome. But Keanu's eyes were on Elliot Vance's office. Through the glass, Elliot typed frantically, unaware that Keanu had seen his empire's rotten core. Rows of fake cars, a deal with Rico Salazar, lives crushed by greed. Keanu's calm hit a fire. He wasn't leaving until this ended. He moved toward the Aston Martin, fingers brushing its hood, playing the curious buyer. An employee glanced over, but Keanu's nod kept her at bay. His heart carried the weight of the garage's secrets. Families scammed, dreams stolen. He thought of a retiree, hands trembling as he signed a loan for a car that wouldn't start. That pain wasn't just numbers. It was real, raw, and it pushed Keanu forward. He'd faced lies before, but this time, he'd fight for others. Elliot emerged, his grin forced, eyes darting. Mr. Reeves? Sorry for the wait, got those papers ready soon. Keanu tilted his head, voice soft but sharp. No rush. I'm curious about the tires. Goodyear, right? Elliot froze, then laughed too loud. Yeah, custom job, collector's choice. Keanu stepped closer, gaze steady. And the seats? Stitching's a bit loose for a factory car. Elliot's smile twitched, a crack in his mask. The air grew tight, like a string about to snap. Keanu leaned against the car, casual but deliberate. You said Santa Barbara, tech mogul, got a name yet? Elliot's hands fidgeted, cufflinks glinting. It's, confidential. You get it, privacy. Keanu's lips curved, not a smile but a challenge. I get a lot, like how things don't add up. Elliot's eyes widened, just for a second, but Keanu caught it. The dealer's charm was crumbling, and Keanu was only starting to press. He felt the victim's hopes behind him, urging him on. I saw the garage, Keanu said, voice low, each word a hammer. Cars with fake parts, bolts that don't match, labels scratched off. Elliot's face paled, his grin gone. You're mistaken, Mr. Reeves. That's storage, not... Keanu cut him off, stepping closer. I heard you with Rico, the big fish you're selling to? That's me, right? Elliot's mouth opened, then closed, like a fish gasping on land. Keanu's calm was a blade, cutting through years of lies. Elliot backed toward his desk, hands shaking. You don't know what you're saying, this is my business. Keanu followed, voice steady. Your business hurts people, families, workers, trusting your promises. I know what's behind your shine. Elliot's eyes darted to a drawer, fingers twitching. Keanu's gaze locked on, unflinching. Don't, he said softly. The room felt smaller, the jazz drowned by tension. Outside, the ocean whispered, but inside, a storm was breaking. Keanu pulled his phone from his jacket, holding it up. Made a call 10 minutes ago. Financial crimes unit, they're on their way. Elliot's face drained of color, his voice a rasp. A call? You're bluffing. Keanu's eyes didn't waver. Try me. A faint wail pierced the air, sirens growing louder. Elliot's shoulders slumped, panic replacing his bravado. Keanu felt no joy, only resolve. This wasn't about winning, it was about the people Elliot had broken. The sirens swelled, blue and red lights flashing through the glass walls. Elliot lunged for the drawer, but Keanu stepped forward, presence alone stopping him cold. It's over, Keanu said, voice like stone. The front door burst open, 2 officers storming in, hands near their belts. A detective followed, badge glinting, eyes sweeping the room. Elliot Vance? She asked, voice firm. Elliot's hands rose, trembling. This is a mistake, he choked, but his words fell flat, empty as his promises. The detective nodded to Keanu, acknowledging his tip. We've got reports of fraud, Mr. Vance, evidence from a witness. She laid a folder on the desk. Photos of fake engines, doctored VINs. Keanu stood silent, watching as officers moved toward the office. An employee peeked from the hallway, then fled, her footsteps echoing. Keanu's mind flashed to the single mom, the retiree, their lives tangled in Elliot's web. This moment was, for them, a crack of light in their darkness. Elliot's voice broke, desperate. You don't get it. I had to keep this place alive. Keanu met his gaze, calm but unyielding. You kept it alive by stealing from others. That's no life. An officer cuffed Elliot's wrists, his suit wrinkling under the metal. Outside, a reporter's camera flashed, capturing the fall of Coastal Sands elite autos. Keanu stepped back, the showroom's glitter fading as truth took its place. The fight wasn't over, but the first blow had landed, and it carried the weight of every victim's hope. The showroom of Coastal Sands elite autos stood silent, its chandelier dim as police lights faded into the Sandy Crest dusk. Keanu Reeves watched from the lot's edge, the arrested Elliot Vance now a shadow in a squad car. The Aston Martin gleamed inside, a hollow trophy of lies. Keanu's heart carried the faces of those Elliot had hurt. Families cheated, futures stolen. Taking him down wasn't enough. The victims needed help to rebuild. Keanu turned away, already planning his next move. By morning, Keanu sat in a small downtown office, the ocean's hum faint through a cracked window. Across from him was Maya Torres, a volunteer attorney with tired eyes and a fierce spirit. Her desk overflowed with files, each one a story of loss. Keanu slid a folder toward her, photos of fake engines, doctored loan contracts, VINs scratched out. This is what Elliot was hiding, he said softly. Maya's brow furrowed as she flipped through. Shock turning to anger. You got all this yourself? Keanu nodded. People trusted him. They got dead and broken cars instead. Maya paused at a contract, its fine print predatory, hidden fees, ballooning interest, repossession clauses buried deep. This isn't just fraud, she said, voice tight. It's theft of hope. Keanu leaned forward, eyes steady. That's why I'm here, to fix it. Maya met his gaze, a spark igniting. She saw the same pain he did, a single mom's fear, a retiree's shame. They weren't just fighting a case, they were fighting for lives. Maya pulled out a photo of a smiling woman, Leela Chen, a single mom who'd bought a fake Porsche. She wanted safety for her son, Maya said. The car died in a month. She's drowning in payments. Keanu's chest tightened, picturing Leela's son, scared in a stalled car, dreams crumbling. "She's not alone," he said. "There are dozens like her." Maya nodded, grabbing a pen. "We'll start with her, then find the rest. Freeze Elliot's assets before he hides them." Keanu stood, pacing to the window. Sandy Crest sparkled below, but he saw its cracks. People hurt by greed, trusting the wrong smile. He'd emailed McLaren, Porsche, and Aston Martin last night attaching garage photos, fake parts exposed. "The manufacturers need to know," he told Maya. "They're talking already." Her eyes widened. "You're not stopping, are you?" Keanu's jaw set. "Not when people are still hurting." Leela's story, and others like it, wasn't just a file, it was a fire in his veins. Maya's phone buzzed. A bank's name flashed. She answered, her voice sharp. "You approved those loans. You saw the terms." Keanu listened, catching her fight for victims. The bank offered to review Lila's case, a small win. Maya hung up, exhaling. They're feeling the heat. Media sniffing around? Keanu nodded, picturing Lila's relief, a weight lifting. But one win wasn't enough. He saw a teacher, a mechanic, families waiting for justice, their trust shattered by Elliot's lies. Keanu stepped outside, the salty air clearing his mind. He visited the dealership's empty lot, now taped off, its sign crooked. Lila had stood here once, hopeful, keys in hand, believing in a better life. Now, she fought to keep her home. Keanu's fists clenched. He texted Maya more evidence, screenshots of Elliot's fake ads, glowing reviews bought online. Each piece was a step toward freedom for someone trapped. The ocean roared nearby, echoing his resolve to keep going. Aston Martin called Maya's office later, their rep stunned by Keanu's photos. "We're launching a program," they said. "Certified cars for victims, discounted." Porsche followed, then McLaren, shamed into action. Keanu stood in the office as Maya shared the news, her smile rare but real. "This could help 20 families," she said. Keanu saw Lila's son, safe in a real car, and felt a flicker of peace. But his work wasn't done. More victims waited, their stories untold, their wounds fresh. The story broke online that night, headlines screaming, "Sandy Crest scam exposed." Reporters swarmed the lot, cameras catching the dealership's ruin. Keanu stayed back, unnamed, letting Maya lead. She filed a civil suit for 40 victims, Lila's name first. Keanu read their stories, savings gone, marriages strained, kids' futures cut short. Each one hurt, but it fueled him. He wasn't chasing fame. He wanted their lives back, their trust restored, even if it took years. Keanu met Maya at dusk, the office quiet. "You didn't have to do this," she said, voice soft. "Most would have walked away." Keanu looked out at the fading light, Sandy Crest glowing like a promise kept. "I'm not most," he said simply. Lila's face stayed with him, her son's too, and all the others Elliot had crushed. This fight was theirs, not his, and he'd carry it as far as they needed. The road to justice was long, but Keanu was already walking it, step by steady step. The Sandy Crest courthouse buzzed with tension, its wooden benches packed as the trial of Elliot Vance began. Keanu Reeves sat in the last row, unnoticed, his leather jacket blending into the crowd. Outside, the ocean whispered, but inside, voices carried pain, victims ready to face the man who'd stolen their dreams. Keanu's heart held their stories, Lila Chen's broken trust, a teacher's lost savings, lives cracked by lies. Elliot's empire was gone, but justice wasn't done yet. Keanu watched, silent, ready for the end. Elliot sat at the defense table, his suit wrinkled, his once slick hair flat. The smirk that sold fake cars was missing, replaced by a hollow stare. Across the aisle, Lila Chen clutched a folder, her eyes fierce but tired. Keanu felt her strength, a mom fighting for her son's future. The prosecutor stood, voice clear. "This isn't just about money, it's about trust, shattered by greed." Keanu nodded slightly, picturing every victim who'd believed Elliot's shine. Their hurt fueled this moment. Lila took the stand first, her voice shaking but firm. "I wanted a safe car for my boy," she said. "They said it was perfect. It died on the highway, my son crying in the back." Keanu's chest tightened, seeing her fear, her son's small hands gripping her. The courtroom leaned in, feeling her loss. A mom who'd trusted, now drowning in debt. Lila's eyes met Elliot's, but he looked away, shamed. Keanu knew her words weren't just hers, they spoke for dozens. A retired teacher spoke next, his voice low. My savings went to that car. It never started. I can't retire now. Keanu saw the man's pride, crushed by a fake Porsche, his years of work erased. Each story landed like a stone, heavy with betrayal. The jury listened, faces grim. Keanu stayed still, but his mind raced. Every testimony was a step toward healing, a chance to right wrongs. These weren't just cases, they were people, fighting back. Elliot stood, voice thin. I didn't mean to hurt anyone. The business got out of hand. No one nodded, no one softened. His words rang empty, a salesman with nothing left to sell. Keanu's gaze stayed steady, seeing through the plea. Elliot had chosen greed over lives, and now he faced them. Leila, the teacher, 40 others, their eyes burning with truth. Keanu felt their courage, raw and real, a fire no lie could dim. The jury returned fast, barely an hour gone. Guilty, the foreman said. Fraud, conspiracy, theft. Elliot sank into his chair, face blank, as the judge spoke. 20 years, no parole, assets seized for victims. Lila exhaled, tears falling, her son's future a bit brighter. Keanu watched, no smile, just quiet relief. The gavel fell, sharp as a door slamming on Elliot's lies. Justice wasn't loud, but it was here, heavy and true, for everyone he'd hurt. Outside, victims hugged, some crying, others laughing, free at last. Lila held her son, whispering, "We're okay now." Keanu saw their joy, fragile but growing, like dawn after a long night. Banks had forgiven loans thanks to Maya Torres' suit. Aston Martin sent Lila a real car, its keys shining with promise. Keanu's push had sparked it, calls to manufacturers, evidence shared, pressure that wouldn't quit. He felt their hope, a warmth against the pain he'd carried. Keanu slipped out, avoiding reporters' cameras. He'd never spoken to them, never wanted the spotlight. At the lot, now a ghost of Coastal Sands elite autos, he paused. A mechanic found an envelope there days later, taped to the gate. Inside, a note in Keanu's steady hand. Don't let lies win. Fight for truth. With it, photos of the fake cars and a victim's thank you, tear-stained. Keanu's shadow lingered, not for fame, but for them. Weeks later, Lila drove her new car, her son singing in the back. Other victims rebuilt, debts cleared, cars replaced, trust inching back. Maya's suit grew, helping more, inspired by a man who'd walked away. Keanu's work rippled, quiet but strong, changing lives he'd never meet. He saw their stories online, small wins stacking up, and felt peace, not pride. Sandy Crest shone again, not with chrome, but with people rising, stronger than before. Mini Hook, is their recovery complete? Keanu vanished into the sunset, his jacket catching the ocean's glow. No interviews, no speeches, just a man who saw a wrong and fixed it. He thought of Lila's son, safe now, and the teacher, planning a new dream. Their faces stayed with him, proof one choice could shift everything. Truth didn't shout, but it stood tall, heavier than any lie. Keanu kept walking, knowing others would carry the fight because sometimes standing up was all it took. This story of Keanu Reeves dismantling a web of lies reminds me how one person's courage can spark hope in a world too often clouded by greed. I believe integrity, quiet as it may be, carries a power that outlasts any scam. Don't you feel that too? Or maybe you think systemic change needs louder voices, and that's okay. We all see justice differently. What moves me is the victim's strength, like Lila's, rising from betrayal to rebuild. Their stories make me want to keep questioning, keep fighting for what's right. What about you? What part hit home? Thank you for joining me in this tale of truth over Flash. Please share your thoughts below, hit that like button if it resonated, and subscribe to the channel for more stories that challenge and inspire. Turn on the bell, let's keep the conversation going.